We are recording.
Cool.
So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am here with the the legendary player, supporter, and the persona of the community for BroodWar, but not only BroodWar, but also for Warcraft 3. Correct me if any other games are supported. This is Mr. Kirill Patyrykin, aka Rasbrain.
Hello, team. Nice to meet you again.
So guys, this is a new series of interviews I want to start to make with the interesting people from the community. I think it's a cool format to get to know people who mean a lot for the community. Usually we don't have opportunity to get to know them, so I hope that with this format we will have option to be a little bit familiar with the people who are the pillars of the community. So thank you for accepting this invite, Kirill, and I hope you are doing fine today.
Sure, thank you. And I have a question. Do you plan to do like this format, long-lasting story? So like not only with myself but with other guys.
Sorry.
Are you going to? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
If this is the long-lasting interview format, so it will be like with me, and after that with someone else, so many of such a kind.
Yeah. I'm planning to make it regular and make more of those interviews. I would like to make one weekly, so it will be some additional content around the StarCraft, around RTS, but not really the content which people are used to, which is just a game and commentary, but just to get to know the organizers, the supporters, the players, just interesting people from the community.
Right. That's cool.
It will be my subjective.
One per week. That's something. That's a commitment, That's hard.
Yeah, we will see. That's why I'm recording it and not doing it live because the live stuff happens. But I would like to do it. I think it will be possible. It's I think it's doable, and I hope we will manage. We will manage to do it.
Sure. If you're committed, you can handle that. There is nothing harder than get the A rank on PG Tour or IC Cup.
Oh yeah. Okay, so starting the interview, I wanted to talk to you about your beginnings of StarCraft, because when we've been in Thailand, the LAN which you hosted, which you sponsored, we talked that you've been in the Russian Cyber Games, that you played in stage, that you had some important match which you had to play on, and I was just wondering, what were your beginnings with StarCraft, when you started playing, what was your road? Could you please let us know about this side of you as a Rasbrain, the player?
Sure. Well, obviously I have started playing in 1998, but back then it was just the champion of your tiny house. And if we are talking about competitive playing, I think it was like the how's it called, the middle school and then the high school. Yeah, so it was like high school, so I was like 16, 15, 16, something like that. So it was 2002 more or less. And I do still remember this sort of feeling or something when I came to our PC bank, which was just, I don't know, 200 meters away from my house. And they came there after a couple of hours of playing online. These eyes, guys, we are all doing wrong. They're playing different game, 30 minutes, no rush. No, that's not working. They're completely different. And then we started to develop this strategy. Well, not develop, but try to copy these strategies and stuff like that. And it became more and more interesting. Then I realized maybe like half a year ago, there was a tournament actually, the WCG, the OSL, of course, with the Koreans, this players of old Russian club Orki, like Asmodei, well, do still remember some names of them. And I think the really competitive part, when you can say I was started to sort of practice, was 2004. So yeah, something like that. Before that, as I said, 2 years before, like from 2002 to 2004, I was just playing like within the neighboring PC bank, and before that, it was just nothing near the competitive StarCraft.
Okay, and when did you qualify for the? Because you also in Russia you had this qualifiers for the offline finals, the national regional finals. So when did you qualify for the World Cyber Game Russia for the first time?
Because the size of the country, the qualifications were divided by regions, and we had one in Vladivostok. Now I will start from a little bit beginning. When you qualify, then usually, at least when I was playing, you were not awarded with sort of avia ticket, the air flight. You were awarded with the cheapest ticket possible, which is the railway. And yeah, you just ride 6 days. And the cool stuff, however, was that the organizers, they were still sort of the same players, but a little bit elder. So we were like, the usual players were like 20, and these organizers were like 24, 26. So still boys in their head. So what they really tried hard, they tried to align the booking so that, let's say I qualified, let's say I start my ride from Vladivostok, so the train goes, and then the guys who won in Khabarovsk, they join this train. Then the guys who won in Irkutsk, they join this train. That was not always aligned, but still the attempts were very hard. By the end of the day, you might have ended up that Counter-Strike players, they have built up the local area network in their railway cab, and all the guys were playing each other. So yeah, it was really a community there. However, when I qualified, because my elder sister, she moved to Moscow a lot earlier. She's elder, so she moved to Moscow in 2001, if I'm not mistaken. Every summer I spent with her. So in 2006, when I qualified, I took the 3rd place. So I was not the top one in Vladivostok. The first guy was the local Korean guy, and he was always winning. The top 2 was another Zerg player who beat me 2-1, and I was top 3. So I was not really planning to attend to the Russian final. This how is it called? Russian preliminaries or something.
Regional finals.
Yeah. So I moved to Moscow just a general vacation, and then I got a call that the top one guy. The funny story with this Korean guy was that he was winning, but his dad was really against the playing, so he did not allow his son to attend any further. So he dropped his slot. And the top 2 guys, there were a number of circumstances. So he dropped as well, and I got a call like, look, listen, you're top 3, so you should play. Okay. Then I arranged the dates and stuff. So yeah, I moved to Moscow, but eventually I lost the very first match with to Escape, I think. Yeah, it was 3D Escape. So not big performance at all, but I have also played the Asus. We had these Asus offline tournaments, which were really even greater for former Soviet countries, because they really gathered the guys from Belarus, from Ukraine, from Baltic states. And in 2006 summer one, it was the biggest StarCraft LAN event ever. And I got the top 16, if I'm not mistaken. I really have to check the Wikipedia. Maybe it was like top 24, but whatever. I remember that I lost 2-1 to Escape there, but defeated a lot of good names. And you know, it's some sort of a feeling. There are some guys like Dawid, for example. When I see how he's playing, how he performed in all the tournaments, it appears to me that he's much better in online than offline. Offline, something is not okay, like my mouse is not okay, table is not okay, chair is not okay, whatever. But for me, it was completely different. I usually performed much better in offline environment than back home from online.
Right, same for me. I have the same. Like there is this inner motivation, or I don't know how the mental state on the offline tournament when you see someone, you see like, oh, he's just a regular person, I can beat him, right? And online, you think about someone, oh, he's A plus, or I don't know, A0 in VG Tour or PG Tour. Then there is this imaginary image of a player, but in offline tournament you can meet someone and then realize that it's just a regular beatable person. But actually I didn't know about this. This is a fascinating thing. So you needed to drive for like 6 days to Moscow, and you were driving with other players, so you could hang out with them, you could really bond with them, and that was probably also the if not better, at least equal experience to just attending to the tournament itself, right?
Yeah, it was all the same. And for example, a good friend of mine, TTF, he attended in 2003, if I'm not mistaken, so even older than me. And he even remembered when I was attending, I would have been at least awarded with a train ticket and some accommodation, maybe a hostel, whatever, some accommodation. But when he attended, train ticket, period. So live wherever you want. And what their generation of players did, they, like maybe 8 players or 9 players, they're going to just one apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment, to some other player in Moscow, and some other player in Moscow tell his mom and dad, look, listen, there's my friends, they all qualified, so they have nowhere to live. And mom was, okay, you can live on the floor. And that was a really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, those are the best feelings when you have to go through the hard stuff to get to something. You remember it with the much kinder
Exactly.
memories. Like to be honest, in Poland, if you qualify to top 8, you didn't even have the train ticket or anything covered. You just need to go there by yourself. But Poland is much smaller, and I imagine if someone would have to cover their own cost from Vladivostok to Moscow, it would be probably too expensive for a regular person just to attend for the tournament, especially back then when no one knew what actually eSport will become, right?
Yep, definitely so.
It was harder to get the support from the parents or to spend money on it, but those are the fascinating stories. And 2006, so when you were preparing, there were replays already, right? But there was no first person view. There was no streams. So if you were lucky, you get some Korean replays and you could copy their strategies. But overall, did you have some way of figuring out strategies? Like, for example, the Polish Zerg player Blackman, he created the map which he practiced against, where he created the better computer. Maybe you had some special way of practicing of creating the strategies back then.
Vladivostok was a little bit different. First thing first, when you play the capital, Moscow, your ping is 90, starting from. When you play Europe, the ping was like 200, again, starting from. When you play US, 400, not possible. But, so it was a disadvantage. But the advantage was, it was very easy actually to get Korean, not only replays, but the first person VODs of that kind, which were transmitted in the live TV in Korea. And again, our local Korean guy, he's really Korean. His dad, if I'm not mistaken, he was working in embassy or something, or consulate. and we got these replays and boards from him. So we have been in advantage in this case. But again, copying the strategies was not that easy because, well, because of this ping difference. So it's a bit like you see what Koreans doing, you don't completely understand why they are precise on timing, but you are not. So what you think, what your perception is like, okay, I'm not that good, I just need to practice. And then you see it on LAN environment, and it just works. Yeah. Well, I couldn't do that like 2 days before from my laptop or from my PC back home. But here it seems to work, and okay, let's go with that.
Yeah, so people were not that aware of the lag and latency influence of the game, I guess, back then, right? And
Koreans were, but we were not. We were not.
And does this Korean guy, like, you didn't have the rules that you need to be Russian to be able to participate in the national Russian regional finals? That the Korean guy was allowed to participate if he wanted?
Standard. It may be difficult to understand for our Western auditory, but I really think you will understand. It's sort of standard for the eastern part of Europe. Whatever you want very much, the prohibition doesn't matter. So yeah, in fact, you should have been Russian, but okay.
Okay, no, you were just happy that he was playing good and he could represent Russia.
Nobody was complaining. It was like, yeah, he was in our community. He was considered the local player because he lived there. Who cares that he's Korean passport? No problem with that. He played really well, so he was not cheating on something. It was his skill. He was beatable. I took some games from him. I think overall score would have been like 8 to 2. So 8 games out of 10 he would have won. But again, he was beatable, so it's up to you. You go play hard and you defeat him. Do you remember the player Bulat from Vladivostok as well? He spelled like Bulat.
Yeah.
So
the ZZZero
he's
player?
a little bit exactly. He is next generation after me. And he attended WCG 2008 or 9, don't remember exactly. Well, he was completely devastating this Korean player. So he was playing much better. So it was possible.
I respect that, and it makes sense. Because on the other hand, you have the advantage other people didn't, which was you had option to practice with him. He gave you strategies. He wasn't just keeping everything to himself, but just sharing the game knowledge with you guys, right? So, so it makes total sense. And did you had any player who was your biggest fan back then in the Korean or in the worldwide community? Did you try to get replay from some legendary Zerg player, because you are Zerg, right? So from some legendary Zerg from Korea, did you have any guru of StarCraft back then?
I think I was a big fan of Yellow, and if we are talking about the non-Korean world, then Mondragon will be the well, he was like I was inspired by his play because Yellow, well, he's Korean, although we were all copying his strategies, still a bit faster, timing's much better, etc. But Mondragon was always, he appeared to be copyable, so he appeared to be like the same skill. It appeared that you can achieve his level. And for the Yellow, it was like, he's Korean, so no, that's the best. You cannot be the best. You understand?
Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean. And yeah, Yellow, he got, if I remember correctly, 2002 and 2003, Boxer was first and Yellow was second, right? They 2 years in a row.
He was always second. He only took 1 gold medal, and it was not the major, so it was not OSL or MSL. It was just something like KGPA or something.
Oh yeah, but still he was very good. And for people who don't remember him, there was also another yellow, but his name was Yellow Arends, if I remember.
RNC, yeah.
And he had a brother called Luxury or
Luxury. Yeah.
But I guess
they were all black, banned.
Banned, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but this is the yellow which wasn't banned. This is let's call him the original or the first yellow. But there is also the guy who had a similar nickname. Okay, I always was wondering, because many of, like, I guess everyone in the community know that you are a successful businessman, but your nickname is also Razbrain, and I guess it has been created in 2000 or no 1999, or maybe you can tell us when it was created, how it was created, and did you pick it because you already achieved the business success, or did you pick it because you knew that your brain is capable to do more than other brains? Or brains
sort
of others?
Sort of. I was considered this sort of smart guy in our community when I was young, and the background behind this nickname was in 1999 to 2000, when Diablo 2 came out. It was very old version of the game. If I'm not mistaken, it was 1.03. There was the sort of a competition. The usual ladder looked like the 91st level was the maximum you can achieve, because the experience you will need for the next 9 levels was like 100 times more what you have already gained. So it was, excuse me, considered sort of impossible. And there emerged two guys. The classes were like Amazon, Barbarian. Barbarian was the top choice. Necromancer was like top two choice. So there was a guy, or the team of the guys who created the account Germany Barbarian. It was GAR Barb. And they developed the sort of a logical thing. They made it as shifts, and they initiated this 24/7 grinding. So their goal was to take 99th level. So they, sort of beat the game. Yeah. And so they just shared the character and made the 24/7. And the team of Russians, not only Russians, but all these former Soviet guys, they created the same account, which was called Rusbarb, so RUS, and they started sort of a competition, and competition lasted like half a year or something. I do not remember precisely already, it was quite a long ago. And let's say German guys, but it was really the whole Europe team, they beat the Russian team in like 14 hours or something. And I was part of this Russian team. I was quite young back then, so I was really in supporting, but still the nickname started back from them.
Okay, that's so it's a nickname from Diablo 2, actually.
Sort of, yeah.
Okay, that's actually cool. So Mr. Razbrain from Diablo 2. And who did you play in Diablo 2? The most favorite, your favorite, how to call it?
The favorite was Sorceress, but for PvP it was not a class of choice at all, because you
Paladin
died instantly. Back then, Paladins, no, they didn't use these Hammerdins, Steeldins, all this stuff which dominates the Diablo 2 now. So I have been Necromancer, but as I said, the top one choice, like 80% of high-level characters were Barbarians. Next 10% were Necromancers. Next 10, everyone else.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about it. To be honest, I never played PvP in Diablo 2. I mean, I played a couple times. We fight it with friends and stuff, but Usually it was like whoever hits someone first, then it wins. So it wasn't, I believe, the rules of PvP they should have been. But I played a lot to like kill the minions and get the game, and I even played when now the version of the remaster version of Diablo 2 came out. So I like got through the game with the druid. So this is still the game which have is very high in my heart. Diablo 2 is one of the best one, but to be honest, I was always a bigger fan of Diablo 1 and Diablo Hellfire. That was my game. The mana shield was unkillable back then, and
That's true. Yeah. But in Diablo 2, mana shield was just absorbing the percentage, so sorceress was not that livable. You know, she died.
You needed to use both potions, not only the mana potions, right?
Exactly.
Okay, that's actually a cool strategy. I wanted to ask you to changing the topic a little bit about your business success. Like, did you have any guru who guided you? Did you have anyone who helped you to achieve success? Could you maybe tell us a little bit more of what you do? How you get to the point where you are right now, and do you have someone who would want to thank you for, or maybe say that this guy really like motivated me or inspired me or gave me the goal, or could you tell us a little bit more about your background of your business success?
You know, I tend to still have contacts with my alma mater, with my university, where I graduated, and I have connections with the as you said, the guru or the mentor, the teacher who really made some impact. I still hold some connections with her, and sometimes I connect with her current time students, and the story is like the same, like tell a story. Okay. I have to be honest that I was the background for the sort of, as you say, success. For me, it's, I think, much too premature to say about success. So some more time should pass. When I will be 70 years old or something, then we can discuss. Now it's a little bit early. But anyway, even up to this point, I have to say that I do admit the core element is luck. It doesn't mean, though, that you can just, if you want to get some sort of a success, you just can do nothing. And if you're lucky, you win. If you're not lucky, you don't win. It doesn't work like that. It works like you really work hard and you mine lottery tickets, a lot of them. Maybe, just maybe, you're lucky, and out of your 1 million tickets, one will win. So it works like that. But if you just lay down and do nothing, you will not mine these tickets. So you will not win anyway. And for me, I was very lucky to be impacted by the chain, by the number of some teachers, and starting from my dad, of course, who was himself, when he was very young, like 12 years old, he lost his mom, and he lost his dad even earlier. So he was alone, and he moved to this orphanage, if the English word is right. And then he moved to the Marine School. So he eventually became the seafarer, the shipmaster, captain. Well, I think there are a lot of big chances that he could have gone, I don't know, criminal guy or green cow, but eventually he survived the situation. My mom was quite a successful woman at all, so I'm lucky in that my parents were that. Then when I was young in the how's it called, preliminary school, or well, elementary school, yeah. In elementary school, well, there is not much to say because we moved in one apartment in one part of the city. Then when I was 10 years old or third grade, we moved to another apartment, another part of the city. But back then, when I moved to this third grade, my direct teacher, and when you're in elementary school in Russia, you just have just one teacher and she teach you like mathematics, Russian, I don't know, history or something. So just one teacher.
Oh, wow.
Then when you're in middle school, then you have different teachers. So it works like that. So this teacher, she was quite young. She just finished studying and moved to work in school. And she like sort of noticed me or something, and she said like, okay, this guy should not be in this class, but he should be graduated. He should be moved to another class for like, you know, more advanced students or something. And she made the application to the director, all this stuff. By the end of the day, it was a work she took for herself to advance me, but nothing she gained from that. So it was just something not for money or something. So I was very lucky with that because there are big chances that she wouldn't have, you know, advanced me or something. Then in school, well, there were some teachers definitely, and our what's it called, the supervisor or something, supervising teacher. She was a very good lady, also quite young, but I don't think she was something special to me. She was just very good for everyone in the class. In the university, however, I do remember well some of my teachers, and there were sort of two category of teachers. First were we called them good talkers. They were like they have finished their university, and then they started to be teachers, and they never worked really. So they were good in theory, but the practical things, well, that's questionable. And there were another category of teachers. One of the guy, again, he was quite young. He was the financial markets trader, and his story was a little bit comparable with my dad's. And he was successful in security trading. And he was not like, you know, he was not advertising that. And when I graduated much later, I realized it took to my knowledge that he was so well in that he actually invested, being the, you know, low income student, he generated enough money to purchase an apartment for him. So that was quite a success for that times. Yep. And another teacher of mine, with whom I still have tight connections, she was an owner and she was a director in insurance company. So that was a great experience because how it was going, like, look, guys, you now take this book, you read this and that, then you go to my class. I will tell you how the real world works. And that was really
Those are the best teachers, right?
Really important knowledge. Yeah, true. So yeah. All in all, yeah, after that, when I finished, I moved to Moscow because my sister was there, and I was understanding, I understood, I knew very well that the income, the revenue you can generate in Moscow was like twice as high as in Vladivostok, but the expenses are the same. So it was it's money motivated choice. So nothing I can tell about that. And then I was started in one company, then I moved to another. And I got connection with the one guy whom I'm working now. And I can tell he's like my boss. It's a bit complicated, so it's not the same company, and he's not like my direct supervisor, but still I have to, through the chain of interactions, I have to report to him. I remember I came with some ideas to him and offered sort of look, listen, I can do this, this, and that. And I would have done it myself if I had money, but I have only a 10% fraction for that. So I need another 90%. And he was like, for him, it was okay-ish price. So he was like, okay, I can bet, I can back you up on this 90, go ahead. And this idea eventually worked out, which eventually is where I'm now.
Oh, that's good. So, you say you were lucky, but you also needed to use those how to call it, the people which luck you claim luck gave to you, but there are many people who have very worthy people around them, but they can't see it, and they can't just meet the opportunity to like gain some knowledge from them. So I guess that's another part of just working hard and not laying down, not just digging those lottery tickets.
We can just, because most of our, I think all our listeners and viewers are playing StarCraft, so most of them can play poker, someone better, someone worse, but still they know the rules. I can say that it's comparable to like the Texas Hold'em. For example, let's say you are the son of Joe Biden. That means you have the AA on preflop. Then even if you have the 7-2 on the preflop, you can still win. You have to be like, you have luck
for
matters,
your hand, right?
Luck matters, yeah, your like convention matters, your size of your stack matters. So additional elements goes into play, but still whatever is your preflop hand, you can still win. So that works like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, and this is quite a motivating thing to think about. That wherever what you are saying, if I understand correctly, is wherever you start from, you can get to success and be successful. You don't need to be.
Chances differ by far, but yeah, it's still possible.
Yeah, I understand, So how many years ago did you created this? Did you had this idea to just invest this 10% and asked your so-called boss to back you up with like 90%?
The company started in December 2013, and well, the idea is like a year older. It's just quite complicated. The process of creating the company was quite long because it's you have to get a license, so all this compliance stuff, blah blah blah. I had to get the additional education. So the idea is started from 2012, and the realization was December 2013.
Oh, okay. But to be honest, if I remember correctly, because we all know that you are the big organizer of the tournaments like Corrupted Cup, Russian Cyber Games, the Thailand Land, many others, but you also were supporting the online tournaments back then, the Team Liquid Legacy Starleague, right? And some other events. You are the known so-called the patriot of BroodWar, however you call it, and when did you had a moment when you realized, okay, I have enough that I can start sharing with people, or how did you get to the point, to the moment where you started to support community so much that that everyone could apply for the sponsorship and be run their own tournaments and stuff?
Well, I contributed to the community back from when I started playing. I have been the leader of 7X team, then the rips.ru website, and I was hosting the tournaments. I have also been the tournament admin in PG Tour, so I had a lot of experience in that. And when I moved to Moscow, I still kept this attitude. I hosted the Moscow LANs and stuff like that. when the current engagement and work consumed more and more of my time, but eventually I got some income out of that. I decided to switch to another sort of patronage, sort of support, and offered the contribution for predominantly for the prize pool and stuff. When the fund idea came up, how the fund idea came up, some of the guys, they asked for, when they saw that I started all this, the Warcraft 3 tournaments, the StarCraft tournaments, more and more guys started to get a loan and literally ask for money. My friends and I, we decided to set up a fund, and we developed sort of a guideline to get the this sponsorship program. How's it called? The sponsorship package. And the primary driver for how we indicated sort of a KPI or scoring system was how much money the player would get. Different words. Let's say someone is asking for, like, give me 100 grand and I will make a top 1 tournament ever. We say, okay, what will be the expenses? And he said, like, okay, so this hotel will cost this, these dancing girls will cost this, etc., etc. Eventually, the prize pool will be just 10 grand. We say, okay, so it's well, 10%, 10 grand for the prize pool and another 10 grand for the aisle flight tickets and the accommodation. So, okay, 20% is for the players, 80 is for fantasy. We didn't support that. We didn't have the strict guidelines of what is the bottom line. It was never prescribed as sort of a strict stone written stuff. But the average we kept throughout how many, 8 years of operation was well above 80%. So 80% of what we contributed went to the players in these or that type. For example, if you're talking about online tournaments, then most of the stuff was prize pool. If you're talking about offline, then of course some of the money were accommodation and tickets. If you're talking about the huge tournaments like the 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary, the Russian Cyber Games Corrupted Cup, usually the prize pool was 33%. Flight and accommodation was like about 50, and the remainder was like, this T-shirt, jerseys, the PC bank, all this technical stuff. So that's how we went. And in the eSport fund team, I remember I sent quite a number of messages to different guys, like, do you want to be a committee guy? And he said, what do you mean? And I said that, look, the idea is that, well, obviously, the 99% of the cash is mine, so I want to see some control. So maybe I want to like block some guys from the beginning, but first, some things may happen, so I need some support. I need some guys to back me up when I am not available. Also, when I have the idea that, yeah, okay, we should support these guys, maybe someone will share his own idea that we shouldn't for some of the reason. And we had guys, we still have Garinich is one of the team members. Randominator is another one, and I think, who's the German guy? Forgot. The Gecko. Yeah, but he's not with us already, so he left some time ago. They really made a huge effort, huge contribution, because let's say like Russian part of the team, we were thinking our way, and they were contributing this interesting ideas or example or justification why these or that decision should take place. And one of the tournaments we supported, which I'm sort of proud of, was a tournament in Costa Rica, where the contribution was relatively low. In all, it was below $1,000, but eventually it materialized. It gave a start, a spark, that guys found another sponsors, and they still host these tournaments, this line of the tournaments, and like our support is no longer needed, and they're good to go. So that was cool, really cool.
Yeah, to be honest, I was shocked on how big the Costa Rica community is. They still host the tournaments, and yeah, that's definitely a motivation. I can tell it from my perspective that without your support and without the existence of eSport Fund and your initiatives, I don't believe the BSL would be there, at least not in the way you all know it, and with the big prize pools. And good graphics production and stuff like that. So I can say thank you from myself for your dedication for StarCraft. And I wanted to ask, do you have do you love the game? What do you get from it yourself for supporting BroodWar? Do you like watching those tournaments? Do you like to see the tournaments develop? You like to see something is growing? Do you have any particular goal you want to achieve by doing it step by step, or what is it in it for you, for the team? Maybe you can tell it for Pavel, for Mixer, as well.
I cannot tell for them for sure. They have to tell about this themselves.
Okay.
But for me, I really enjoyed the offline tournaments atmosphere, attitude. I always compared the new generation players, sort of like the Defenders of Ancients, the Dota, these even newer games like PUBG or Fortnite, with the team of ours, the community of ours, where the local area network atmosphere mattered. And it was not so easy back then to say that, I fucked your mom, because sooner or later you will get face to face to this person, and things may happen. So yeah, and I still enjoy that. That's why really for me, basically it's the friends gathering or something when I do this the offline tournaments in real life.
Yeah, that's a beautiful initiative. I love the offline tournaments as well. To be honest, the Thailand LAN motivated me to organize free offline tournaments this year in Poland, because the atmosphere there was so great. That was the best event I ever attended, and yeah, this is an inspiration to keep going. And I believe the offline tournaments, if someone is a StarCraft fan and never been on the offline tournament, they should go, and this is the life-changing experience to get to know people who have the similar hobby, similar passion as you do, and probably even the similar sense of humor. So that's one of the very, very, very similar feelings I have with you. So that those tournaments are offline tournaments are the most important ones. You also are a father, right? You are
Yeah.
You have two sons.
Two boys. Yeah.
Two boys, and you have a wife. You are then not only business is successful, but also like family successful through that. But does your family doesn't have a problem with you spending your time and your money on your hobby, and isn't it the problem for sometimes to just get along, that you want to go for the tournament, you want to host the tournament, but they would like you to commit more time with them or something like that? How do they view your hobby or your passion?
We are quite on the same page with my wife. I can say that luckily we were not sort of a cash-oriented people, especially when, as I said, I still host some lectures, some meetings with the current students, and I see more and more expanding that the, so to say, dollar success is a primary driver. More dollars you have, the more successful you are. When, well, that's not precisely true. That can be true in some instances, but it's not the only way to achieve something. So for me personally, I can say that I'm not the guy who like spend a lot. I mean, I can be happy with not connected with the income. By the end of the day, the cash that I stockpiled would have been enough to like retire it all and just be okay with that. But doing something is really that motivate me, like the achievement or to see the results of your of what you did. That's something that motivates me now. And my wife is more or less the same. You know, there is a song in Russian. I don't remember who was the singer, but the core element of that is that you have the paradise. You have a choice: the paradise in the camp or the hell in the castle. So I prepare the paradise in the camp.
That's a smart way to say it, and it makes sense. Like usually money doesn't give you happiness, and like I was watching some podcast of Joe Rogan, and I was shocked but I was inspired by it. It was a Sadhguru, the Indian, the guy from India who is a like guru. Let's call him the guru, and he said that the people who achieve success by luck, they live in the fear of losing it, and that's also the part of the happiness. I can see it in that sense that someone who is happy within themselves, they don't need money to be happy. That's what I mean.
I cannot say that's not precisely correct that you say that you don't need it. It's sort of dishonest. When you have something and you say, no, that's not the true happiness. That's dishonest. The core element is that you should treat money as an instrument. Let's imagine you have a plumber in your house who will fix your sink. So his instrument is the set of these winches and hammers. Let's say he entered your house and he's full covered with hammers, like 100 hammers on him. You will think like some crazy guy. So it's the same when you have like many billions of dollars. It's too much instruments you have, but it's still somehow when you have millions of hammers on you, you're crazy. But if you have hundreds of billions on you, you're a cool guy. What's the logic? So this is what I'm trying to say. This is just some instruments, and you should understand how many instruments is enough for you. Maybe it's just one hammer and you are so good with your skills that you will do everything with just one of these. Maybe you need a set of the tools, like 10 hammers and 5 winches, and then you can do your job. Maybe you're unskilled at all. However instruments you have, you will not finish your job. So the same for the cash. You can ask for 100 grand for the tournament, and the chances you will fail are very high. Or, as the Costa Rica guys, you can just ask for 200. Eventually what you have, you ask for 200 like 5 times. Eventually what you have is a chain of tournaments. You no longer need that support.
Yeah, well, what I meant was more that there is some level of income that if you can be happy within yourself, it's sufficient, yeah. And you don't need more. But there are some people, so they always need more, and they can't be happy with what they have. So that's what I mean. But you explained it much smarter in a much smarter way. But is there a chance that you would want to share a story? How did you meet your wife, and and what's the story behind it? Because she was drawing the groups for the Russian Cyber Games 2020, and so she must be also the supporter of your hobby. Does she share the similar hobbies as you do? How did you meet her, and what was the story behind your love?
I met her, well, we met each other, of course, when I graduated to university, when I started, graduated is finished, when I started studying the university. But we were not like mating back then. We started mating on the, again, it's a bit different system of studying for myself. I was studying 5 years. So it's some sort of a between of bachelor's and master. It's a bit different system. So when we studied for 4 years, we started meeting. How it started? I do remember the first. What's the word for when you meet a woman? The hangout, or how is it called? I forgot the proper word. The date, yeah, the first date, I remember. I was like sitting in the office and doing some job. I started working when I was studying the 3 years. Right after I finished the WCG career, I started working. So I was sitting in the office, and I was like nothing really to do, just sitting and doing nothing. Because no real job, no claims happened, no casualties, no bad stuff, so just doing nothing. And we were using ICQ back then, and I messaged her like, oh, hello. So just sent her some messages, and she was like, oh, I'm sick, so I cannot go out somewhere today. Sorry for that. I said, oh, okay. So what if I take some oranges and bring them to you? She said, okay. So I told my supervisor, my boss back then, that look, listen, nothing to do today, so I'm just leaving, and I will take a car and do something for myself. She said, okay, sure, you can go. And I went to the market, took some oranges and brought to her. So that's how he started.
That's a cool way, especially that she was sick. So you by bringing oranges, you showed that you care about her.
Yeah, sort of like vitamin C.
Yeah. But so it was still in Vladivostok. So you moved to Moscow together.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So that's even cooler. I didn't know about it. And does your kids play StarCraft? Do they like it, or they have their own games? Do you have a plan to bring them?
Much younger generation. They have, how's it called, this console? The Nintendo Switch.
Oh.
Minecraft and Roblox, the games of choice.
Oh. Yeah. That's. To be honest, today we are visited by Karol's parents, and also her brother came. Her brother is from year 2000, so he is 24 right now, but he is also the Minecraft guy. So this game is actually pretty huge, to be honest, and I'm shocked how big of a game it is.
It can be just a game for game, but my elder one in Phuket, he goes to the school, like the programming school for youngers, which is Cyber One or something. And what they do, they actually sort of, I can't say they write programs, they write code. It's just something objective. Usually they do it in Minecraft, but what the teachers are showing them, what they are trying to teach them, is the sort of a hard logic. So it's, subject, object, and action. And usually they do it through Minecraft, like you pull this trigger, then this happens, and that's quite a nice story. So yeah, I think that in the future, if the elder one would want to connect his life with the computers, with coding, that will be much easier for him to understand the deep knowledge of that, maybe.
Oh, but that's a cool way to try to learn kid by doing it through their favorite game.
Sure.
So that's a good. That's great. That's your older son already learned how to program. So I also wanted to come back a little bit to the StarCraft now. I wanted to ask, how do you see the view of our scene, the future? Because as I don't know if it's the same thing in Russia, but in Poland, from 2004, I remember people were saying StarCraft is a dead game. And every year someone is posting the forum, StarCraft is a dead game, and it's happening for 20 years so far. But how do you view the future? Do you think there is a chance that we will get, I don't know, another spike of viewers like we had during the remaster, or it will just slowly decline to just being the smaller and smaller game? How do you view the future of it?
To be honest, I don't know, but the dying game, I can give you two very good examples of dying games. The first one is Heroes 3, the Heroes of Might and Magic.
Yeah.
Right now, the tournaments are so, even four games. The tournaments are so huge now, so it's far from dead games, and so many new blood players, so many old ones who play competitive. So I really enjoy watching this game. I don't play it that good, especially the current spearhead, when they really do StarCraft style APM, like 400 APM. Just that's, you know, that's a chess style game. Why do you need this APM? But yeah, you need. The next almost dead game was Warcraft 3. When I started some contribution, like this Rosbrain Cups, the game was almost dead in the same way as current StarCraft scene. The only tournament they had was the Gold tournament, sort of a WCG, sort of a OSL, but it was funded and generated from China, because China is a primary driver as Korea for StarCraft. So they only had this Gold and something really, really minor, maybe once a month, some tournament for $50 or for $100. That's it. Then I cannot say it's my accomplishment, not at all, because there are players like Todd or Grabby who made this game popular again through their streams, through Twitch videos. But still, when the game was almost dead, there has been some tournament for which some players were really attending. They were really practicing. Some of them are still active now. Maybe not top players. I mean, not like top 10, but still maybe like top 200. Another game which was also almost dead was the Age of Empires. In 2009 or 11, almost nobody was playing. Now it has new life, new development. So maybe for StarCraft we will see something the same, some sparkle or something. I think maybe with the current technology, with this Twitch streams and stuff, maybe we do not have some sufficiently charismatic old school player. Let's imagine, as an example, maybe Mondragon is playing or something like that. Maybe that can bring some new fresh blood. But realistically, maybe some other players of the past who is not playing now, maybe they will find the way to contribute to this game in some form, like mine or different, and perhaps that can endure and bring a new spark. I don't know. By the end of the day, the game is really competitive, so it's thrilling. So it may go dead for sure. That's one of the option. Another, it can just go cycles. So yeah, we had this dead game cycle. Now maybe we will have the reviving game cycle, as I gave you example with Heroes, Warcraft, and Age of Empires. So these are really cycle games, at least for now. Maybe after this second cycle, they will go there too. I don't know. But for me, I hope that the game will endure and we will see some maybe new players. As an example, in Warcraft, in Heroes, there is a guy who was like 17 or something. So he was really born quite long after this game was created. And he's very successful now. He's given all these old school guys of my age how to play, really. And there is one comparable guy in Warcraft 3, some Chinese guy, I don't exactly remember the name, who is quite young, who was born after the game was born. And he is very good in this game. I don't know, maybe something like that will happen in our game too.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Like this is the bigger, like I have 2 points to what you said. One is like the biggest problem with StarCraft right now is that there is no there are no incoming players, right? There is no fresh young blood. Like the youngest player in our foreigner community is JD Conan, and he's from 2001. And so it's very young. Like he's basically still a kid for StarCraft compared to StarCraft people. There are 2 Chinese guys from 2000 1999, but there is no like younger players coming because there is the entrance is so hard. So that's the hard that's the thing we need to figure it out, or I'm like as a community, if we want to bring new players, how to encourage new people to come. And another thing I wanted to say is that Age of Empires was brought to life, I think thanks to the fact that they were bought by the Microsoft, right? And Microsoft gave a lot of support for the game, if I'm correct. So there is a hope that maybe since they bought the StarCraft, the Blizzard, maybe the StarCraft will be the game as Paint, like automatically in Windows, or something like that. But yeah, those are just the happy wishes, or like the dreams of mine.
May happen. We never know, but we can only hope.
So I wanted to also ask about the harder things, how do you deal with the because usually as an organizer, as a sponsors, we know it very well. You have to meet the critics of the people. There are a lot of people who express their views, and there are very how to say, they're criticizing a lot of things you can do. How do you deal with it? Does it affect you at all? Is it demotivating you from being the part of the community? How like things like that are affecting you?
There is 2 types of critics, of course, the justified and unjustified. Some critics do present the explanation, and even further, some of them provide the options, like you shouldn't have done that, you should have done that, this and that. That's the number 1 choice of critics. This is why eventually we have people with pure, let's say, like Western set of mind in our team to
explain these critics.
Sort of different view on our ideas. That's really important. That will help you to generate higher private value or public value in any venture. And there is, of course, the unjustified critics, like you're shit. Okay, what can I say? So I don't really take the latter one too much personally. In other words, I do not care too much. As for the first one, I do really make adjustments to the actions or future endeavors. If there are options that are applicable, or maybe they give a spark to in my head to something new, so that's always welcome.
Oh, that's very adult the adult thing to do. So I have some questions regarding eSport Fund. Do you have any number in your head? How much do you think you supported overall through the eSport Fund, the RTS community, both StarCraft and Warcraft 3? Is there a number that you could say, or it's?
I think like 250 or 300 grand, something
Okay.
about that.
So it's huge amount of support. And do you like are you originally StarCraft player or also Warcraft player? Because you also support Warcraft as well, right? So you enjoy the game. You also play Warcraft. Did you also compete, play competitively?
Really low skill, I must say. I do know how to click buttons. It was funny story quite recently that 2 years ago we got acquainted with some partner in China, and before I have had an experience to working with Chinese guys in 2015. It was a really bad experience, and with this new partner, when one of the first meetings we had, through some correspondence, he realized that I was playing the WCG StarCraft in 2006, and he was like, he was very thrilled and said, "Oh, I was playing Warcraft in 2002." Oh. And my friends and I, we decided, okay, so let's think. Maybe he is telling truth, but maybe he is some sort of,
fake news guy.
Eastern foxy things, say it like that. And when we went to meet each other in person in China, we offered him, we were like already drinking enough to avoid being harassed or hurt or something. And I told him, like, look, listen, we have one more thing to do. And he said, which one? We had to play Warcraft. Oh, okay, let's go. And he went to PC Bank, and I told my friend, okay, so if he's not playing well at all, then I will be definitely able to defeat him. But if he is truly a WCG player, even if he didn't play these 22 years from that time, he will just smash me. Because, micro will be worse, strategies will be crazy, but timings is something you will never forget. So he was really dominating me, and I said, okay, we can trust these guys. Let's go.
That's a good way.
But still, it's sort of a connection. So I was really enjoying it.
And you are still making the tournaments. He still making the tournaments in Warcraft 3? Because China is the Korea of StarCraft, right? Like the Warcraft 3 is the biggest in China, right?
Yeah,
there is a guy called Moon, right? Or is he still
Korean? He's Korean.
Oh, he's Korean. Yeah. Oh, okay. So, but
Moon. There are some Korean players, but the China is sort of the place for orphans, for younger generation, younger generation. And again, the guy who took 2 gold medals WCG and 1 silver, Sky, is actually Chinese. So it's some Koreans says that StarCraft is their game. Some Chinese guys said that Warcraft is their game.
Oh, okay, that's cool thing to know about. We also had a pretty good guy in Warcraft 3. His name was Terror in Poland, and I was like now recently he came back and he is running the Warcraft 3 tournaments and adding some content stack and stuff. So
nice.
So you can see that. I agree that.
So that's a direct response to your question. Like you ask, do you support? I do not really need to. The scene is more than alive without my support at all. So I would prefer to focus on something where my support might be more needed.
Okay. And you always like because you are the sponsor and supporter of BSL from BSL 7 or 8, if I remember correctly. So that's a very long time, and I know that you have your friends. Like I don't know how to call it, friends, co-workers, business partners, Pavel and Mixer. I had the pleasure to meet Pavel, the Sarejaer. I don't believe I met Mixer, but are those the most important people in the eSport Fund project beside you? Are those the pillars of the eSport Fund? What is their contribution? How could I say overall to the project?
Currently, the boss Mixer and Sarejaer, they are two partners alongside with me, and we work in our project. Mixer is not directly involved in the sport fund. He's just because, as I said, the primary wealth contribution to the fund is through us, and then he's sort of involved because his share of profit is there as well. As for the eSport team, it's the guys are all on the website. Well, I have to remember them all. Me and Sarejaer, of course, who else? The Avind, Liquid Drone, Randominator.
Liquid Drone.
Names. Yeah. Baby Magic, you can remember him. He's streaming guy from Russia.
Yeah, of course.
And the and Goranich. So right now only 5 people. Before we had more. For example, we had Gecko, the German admin, and some other guys.
Yeah, I believe I remember PG24, or maybe.
Yep,
yeah.
He has been.
Yeah, that's nice. Gecko was in the Corrupted Cup in Moscow, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember because he brought me some German beer, and we needed to drink it over there because it was too big of a bottle to be able to transport it back to Poland. But it was very nice of him, and a very, very cool guy. While ending, I wanted to ask you about your own time, about your hobby. How much what are you doing in your spare time, in your hobby time? How much time do you play games, watch games, and how much time do you spend on other hobbies, other activities? What do you like to do when you are not working?
Right now, not too much games, I'm afraid. I only have one game on the cell phone when I'm not in the plane, but in the car, mostly in the car, because in the plane it's more or less some sort of flat screen of what I'm trying to say, that you can read. So I prefer reading a book of some kind. When I'm driving the car, when I'm driving, I'm obviously not playing, but when I'm the passenger, I used to play this old game and cell phone, which literally looks like Final Fantasy, first or second, so this pixel style of RPG. Yeah, but that's not too much often. Also, alongside with when I was young, like 7 years old, 7, 8, 9, 10, I have been practicing some karate, judo, and in Phuket, I offered both my kids, the younger one and the older one, to try that too. And my wife suggested that I should go with them too, because there are classes where both the younger ones and elder one can can study in dojo alongside with each other. Like the young ones and the elder one, we can do the same time. Of course, we cannot fight with each other, but still. So why she told me that is to motivate guys not to just something like that, make punch, but really be focused, because they look at the father is there, so they are focused. And I was really, it's sort of physical activity of something to keep your body, it works like the pump. So even if your main revenue driver is your head, your brain, you have to pump a lot of blood to make to have energy for your brain. In other words, you have to be healthy. So this activity is something which keep me sort of healthy. And Phuket is an island, so I go to seaside quite often. And recently, a couple of months ago, I started to drive the boat, so I can, this pleasure yacht captain. So this is one of
you can rent it
other
yourself?
things. Yes, exactly.
Oh, and so you have like the yacht driving license, or however it's called in English.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, that's cool. That's Phuket is a beautiful place and a beautiful island. I'm sure there are a lot of activities. Did you ever were tempted to try Muay Thai as a Thai thing to? Because I believe.
I do usually. I do go to Muay Thai training camps, and I ask some Thai guys to sparring with me. It's especially when I know that today is gonna be some meeting, and I do expect that will be a highly demotivating meeting. When, in other words, I don't really have a position, and the guy will be like smashing me. So I prefer to go to Muay Thai class in the morning. So guys will beat me to hell, and then I will not be that aggressive with the counterpart, because in such kind of situations you cannot be aggressive at all because you don't have position. So better be like, okay, as the Asian style, the keep your sword in your heart.
That's a smart way to do it. Like that's very fascinating thing. And I have two more questions. I wrote it down. I wanted to ask. Maybe this is not the right order to ask the questions, but maybe I will get better with it with time. But I wanted to ask how the moving to the Vladivostok affected you. How like, because you need to left everyone in Vladivostok and go to Moscow. It's like 13,000 kilometers, so or something like that. This is very very far away. Did it affected you like somehow personally, or you think that it was a positive change you like needed to achieve, like you needed to do just to achieve what you achieved?
I don't know the future, so I do not exclude the possibility that when I will say retire, I will go back to Vladivostok. I do not exclude this at all. I am the person who is more linked with persons, with personalities, not with the place. So the guys, the friends of mine, when I was kid, young friends of mine, they sometimes move to Phuket for vacations, so we meet each other. And if you're talking about my parents, then my dad and my mom, they moved to Moscow as well when I moved to Moscow. Unfortunately, my dad is no longer with us, but my mom, she's still living in Moscow. So now, for example, now is summer, and I made the arrangements to meet, so that my kids will meet her grandma. There are still some possibilities for that, and I'm glad it's possible.
Oh, that's good. That's great. If the kids don't have grandparents at everyday's basics, they can appreciate them even more when they meet them. And
yeah, because I lived in Vladivostok. It's far east of Russia, so the distances are not measured in kilometers there. It's really measured in days of driving.
Oh.
So my grandma, she was living in Dideko city. Well, I'm translating from English to English. She was living 500 kilometers away from me. There is no possibility to fly. There is the airport right now. It was rebuilt maybe like 6 years ago or whatever. But when I was young, it was not possible. So you pick your, you take your ticket for the bus, and you just go driving, and it's like 10 hours driving. So every summer I was visiting her myself, and Well, it's still something you really appreciate these meetings when you have again, and when you have your grandma, you can see her every day. That's one story. But when you cannot see her every day, then the times you see her, you do really appreciate these times.
Oh yeah, that's true. I lived with my grandma for my entire like kid life because she was living in the same house as I did. And to be honest, now when I'm coming home once every couple months, I can appreciate the time with her much more than when I was having her every day. So that's very interesting thing. But there is another thing because I realized that you are very very close friend with Sarejaer, with Pavel, and I wanted to ask. How did you guys? Do you guys because you look? I watched your pictures on Facebook, on Instagram. You have the pictures from like 10 and more years ago, and so I believe you have a very strong bond and connection. So I wanted to ask: are you friends from the childhood, or did you meet on college?
From StarCraft times. So Sarejaer was playing StarCraft. I was this 2006 generation player. It was 2008 or 7 something. So yeah, it's the same.
Connected through StarCraft. Okay. That's cool. That's nice. Okay, I guess those are the questions I prepared for today, and I'm really happy that you found time to do it. Do you have any other things which I think I should ask about, or maybe you would like to tell about us? Is there anything important I missed in my questions?
I don't know, maybe we can just what we can do. We can just leave it as it is and say it's a part 1. Then the guys will add their questions in the commentary. So we will do part 2 in sometime in the future, even if in 1 year. Who cares?
Okay.
So I think it should not be me who is asking questions for myself. Otherwise, someone will say that I'm crazy. So leave it for someone else.
Okay, I will. Let's do that. That's a good idea. So thank you very much, sir, for Kirill for doing that. Thank you, sir, and that was a pleasure. So thank you guys for watching, and see you during the next interviews.